Please welcome Rent Items.
Thank you. Good evening. I just want to extend an appreciation. Thank you for coming out tonight. I know it's probably, we were on the fence. A lot of us were on the fence coming out in this weather, but I appreciate it. My name is James Zimbardi, and I'm the CEO and founder of Rent Items. What is probably the biggest problem we all have? We all can identify with this. We all have way too much stuff. Way too much stuff in our possession. $1.2 trillion is spent on non-essentials. A PwC study shows that the shared economy, that 80% of the items that we possess are only used once a month. In addition to that, 76% of the people believe in this study that shared economy will create a better environment. In addition, e-commerce is causing us to do 165 billion packages a year. Plus, that's equating to 1 billion trees being cut down to facilitate those packages. So what's the solution? What's our mission? Our mission is to prevent unnecessary spending, one, and two, to put unused assets that are in your possession to better use. How do we do this? We have a peer-to-peer rental marketplace where power owners connect with renters. What is a power owner? A power owner is someone that actually is an existing peer-to-peer user. They're used to using things like Airbnb, or they're selling their items right now. Or someone that's a hoarder, someone that just has a whole bunch of stuff piling up in the garage, so much so they have to go out and get storage facility units. And lastly, estate sellers. And what does a renter look like? A renter is a local, someone that has temporary needs, doesn't really need to buy something, but they have no other choice but to do so. Or someone that's traveling to the area and can't bring all the things they need with them. And lastly, millennials and minimalists, which is what we're seeing coming up in our next generation. This is just an example and some experience. I started a rental company in Orlando, Florida, servicing families that were going to the theme parks, providing the items they need. So it was a full stack rental business. And through this experience, just learned how to rent items. Done thousands of orders, thousands of customers. And now we're kind of taking what we've done here in Orlando, Florida, and looking to replicate it across all the major cities. So the market size we see as $80 billion. These are just consumer goods. We're not talking about houses. We're not talking about cars. We're talking about the things that are in your possession. And if we were to capture 1% of the market share, we're looking about $800 million. What's our business model? Real simple. Transaction-based, 10 to 20% of each rental transaction, which equates to about $15 on an average order of $100 per rental. And then we have some add-on features as well that get included in that model. So our initial markets right here in Boston, that's where we're starting, and then moving out to some other markets on the West Coast and also New York. So what can people rent? Just give you ideas. I love that I had a gentleman come up to me right before I started the presentation and said, hey, what about gaming? I'm a gamer. I love games. You know, did you realize that there's like huge community out there of board games and very expensive games? People would love to just be able to rent them, try them out before they go buy them. So where we're at right now, we're getting ready to launch our MVP in Q1 of 2019. And I'm going to give you a little bit of demonstration of what that looks like right now. So basically, our site will be very localized. So wherever you're at, it'll show you the content will be different. So if you're in Orlando versus Colorado versus LA, the look and feel will be the same, but the content will change. So in this case, if you were looking for something, let's just put in here and say a chair, you would do a search. You would want to look at perhaps the details of that chair. And let me just go back here. I'm going to do a different example. I'm going to do a bike. and go ahead and rent that bike. You would put in your preferences, when you wanted it, date, things like that. And it's basically like you would experience in other e-commerce related sites in terms of how you would experience the site. I promise this was working right before I got up here. But basically you go through and check it out of your cart, and then on the owner's side you would have your own dashboard and be able to see your inventory, modify and add inventory to the site. And what I love best is really showing, being transparent, what would be your take and what would be the fee on the site. Obviously, if anyone has any more questions or would like to learn more, definitely looking for people that are interested in really helping to move in this direction in terms of, instead of buying everything, we ought to start renting the items that we own, making an income and saving people money. Yes, sir?
How are you dealing with liability? I rent a bike and it breaks and I fall into the road.
Number one question I get. So in the rental industry, you do offer something called damage waiver. It's not insurance, but it kind of acts as insurance. So we are able to do that. We're able to offer what we call damage waiver coverage. And that acts as, in terms of the product liability, the more liability in terms of bodily harm and things like that, that's something we would have to partner up with an actual insurance carrier.
I saw you had chainsaws and...
No. We would...
You have snow blowers, but they're just as bad.
Yeah, so obviously we're giving examples. So we're not launching with like high risk items like bungee cords or, for bungee jumping or something. We're going to obviously stay more narrowly focused to mitigate that risk issue, especially right now. We just can't get involved in those high risk items.
What, renting out items, are you covering the damage of rented out items for the owner of those items?
We would offer a level of coverage just like any rental business would do. There's an ability to add coverage. That's kind of what we call our add-on features.
It's basically a bigger fee taken by your company.
Right. So there's no cost to you as the owner. You're just opting for more protection.
So I get to my stuff to rent?
Yep. So this is for personal, like for you as an individual, but also a lot of small businesses and small business owners that have an operation. This gives them another way to, they can't build a system like this, for example, on their own. This gives them a way to put their items up on the site. But we will designate who's an owner and who's an actual individual, just because we want to be true peer-to-peer rental marketplace.
No cars.
No, this is not for cars.
So there's been companies in the past, I know involved here doing gear. So bikes, snow, shoes, whatever. Multiple bowls of them fail. You listen to those, because you see what makes you guys different. To know the gear market can be able to.
Yeah. So the biggest issue, and I can kind of maybe share more audible. The biggest issue is really understanding what makes a good rental product to begin with. Example, you can't rent a hammer out. It's just not going to work. So you really have to understand and know, again, the rental industry a little bit more, understand what items, categories, products will truly work in this kind of platform. That's kind of the biggest issue. I find that a lot of plays they don't really have rental experience. Maybe they were high-tech background. Personally, I have majority of my time has been high-tech, building high-tech projects, but I've spent the last 4 years in the rental industry, which kind of really makes a big difference in understanding how to do this. Yeah.
So then how do you communicate, it's a rollout, how do you communicate to potential owners what you're looking for? Is that just through the categories that you offer?
Right. So we have the ability where you categories to choose from in our system, but we also are taking input from you as well as what categories we should be adding and extending into as well. So we're constantly learning what are the things that are going to be in demand.
What do you think are the top 3 items that
So the way I like to classify it is proven and unproven items. Proven items are things that we already are familiar with and know how and are used to renting. So that could be from things like furniture is what I call proven, instruments is a proven, tuxedos is a proven. These are just what I call proven categories. Our goal and mission and real vision here is to find the undefined and unproven categories, the things that are going to have a catalytic and a dramatic impact, and that people are not even thinking about renting right now.